I'm frequently called a mean or bad person because of most of the opinions I have. Too many topics seem controversial for some Black women because Black women have created a culture among themselves where they are rarely honest and seem to be walking on eggshells in growth and empowerment spaces, which is why there's plenty of repetitive content but rarely any genuine growth or diversity of thought. In these spaces, Black women are praising each other for keeping it real while rarely actually keeping it real, so it seems all very performative and leaves room for other demographics to take advantage of Black women's insistence on not telling the truth and dancing around people's feelings all the time. When I'm called harsh or mean, I usually laugh this off because people who are close to me in real life obviously know that isn't really true. Yes, I seem harsh at times, but I have good intentions. And I still have good intentions when I say Black women should embrace being seen as bad. Have Black women noticed that society is always expecting us to move around people's sensitivity and emotions to our own detriment, not even just among other Black women, but literally everyone? Other demographics intentionally seek out Black women with insulting narratives and agendas because they know Black women are the only people who don't seem to grasp saying no and having no actually mean no. The amount of times I've seen Black women allow biracials to talk down to them and reprimand them for questioning their lack of Blackness. It basically was like witnessing some slave master talking to some beaten slave that responds with yes, massa, instead of just saying, no, you're not Black, and moving on. The same with Black women speaking to Transformer males in bad lipstick and their supporters. Another incident I witnessed is a Black woman literally asking permission to question why people were comparing Black women to Transformers. Like, what the hell is going on? It's odd to me how submissive Black women are to people. Black women literally respond to all these groups like servants seeking approval, and it's disgusting and very weird. What are you scared of? What are they going to do? Who cares if their feelings get hurt? So Black women being villains is not even doing bad things, but just speaking the truth or establishing boundaries between Black women and another group. It's totally unacceptable for Black women to keep kowtowing like this. If anything, it makes me bring up Black women's fake tough girl act. How are you going to push this ridiculous stereotype of being prideful and no nonsense while letting the entire world run over you and disrespect you with no consequences? It makes no sense. I have to use Shara as an example, even though she's actually not a Black woman, but the mixed daughter of a Black woman and a recent debacle with her is a great example. Shara's pretty funny. I haven't watched her in years, but I assume she's still making the same type of content she used to make. Since she's gone viral, people now call her the Sprinkle Lady, but I will be calling her Shara. Since she's seen as a Black woman, she was recently harassed by internet fake activists because she basically said she doesn't concern herself with foreign wars that has nothing to do with her, and she's not going to boycott any company she wants to shop at. Now, obviously, she's right, and that's a mindset most Black women should also have. Just mind your own business and go about your life. Obviously, Shara is not the only person drinking Starbucks, but she specifically is seen as a Black woman who, according to society, needs to have an SJW cape flapping at all times. While everyone else is simply performing activism online for 2 minutes and then going about their normal day, Black women are supposed to stop what they're doing and actually change up their lives and routines for socio-political issues that have nothing to do with us. Shara was attacked, and I believe one of her brand deals got pulled. I got into several arguments with people who were supposedly outraged by what she said, and I pointed out that they haven't done anything for Black women or girls who are the biggest victims of crimes in this country, and really, in the world. The non-Black people I argued with per usual tell me I'm a bad person with no morals and just block me because they have no legitimate response. They call me an American because they can't openly call me a slur because they have to pretend to like Black women. I also get blocked by SJW Black girls. But what's interesting is they go on bizarre rants of confusion before blocking me. Despite the fact that most of these SJWs cling to alleged higher education, they never have any type of logical or factual arguments as to why all Black women should care about what they claim to care about. It's all emotion with these girls, especially very unhinged emotion. They get really uncomfortable seeing black women saying no and actually meaning it. They respond saying OMG, how about being a good person? And me saying no just blows their mind. They go on a rant of isms and humanity and can't understand why the usual talking points don't move every black woman like it used to. Their anger reminds me of cult members being told they're in a cult. A lot of the responses I get involve black women insinuating or blatantly saying that black women would benefit from helping others because oppression harms us. According to them, fighting on behalf of another demographic helps black women because they're fighting the system. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain why this is dumb, but I will anyway. Black women for multiple decades have been fighting on behalf of others, and it's actually very detrimental because the same groups become protected classes while attacking black women. Black women mules have been repeatedly attempting to gain allies by muling and repeatedly failing. What they do instead is put themselves in a line of fire on behalf of someone else that can now sit down and rest. Most of them not genuinely even caring about whatever the black woman is screeching about. And now the black woman is the only one with a target on her back with no energy, resources, and no allies to defend her. But plenty of attackers. The same attackers and oppressors these nonsensical girlies claim they are fighting. I have to assume these girls are actually not as dumb as they keep acting. They are just seeking approval and hoping that people will like them if they mule hard enough. Every single one of them that tried to argue with me, I made sure to research them and know they haven't posted once about any issue going on with black girls and women, their own demographic. They aren't the justice warriors they claim to be. They won't even seek protection and justice for themselves. So they argue with me with more vitriol than they would ever give a racist or a male. And they eventually end up blocking me when they see I'm not changing my mind. It's almost like they see me getting in the way of their hard work muling, and they don't want to facing social consequences for my lack of muling. Black women need to stop caring about people's fake outrage and embrace whatever superhero villainy people claim we have when we are not playing the role of Mother Nature moms who take care of everyone while getting trampled on. Assert very clear and unmoving boundaries, grow a backbone, and have a stern no. This lack of people-pleasing will impact black women in a lot of different ways of their lives. It'll empower black women to speak up for themselves. Studies show black women rarely, if ever, negotiate their pay. Women with a backbone will go into an interview confident, not trying to walk on eggshells and make everyone comfortable, but instead demanding a higher salary. Black women's currently deteriorating mental health would improve dramatically by not allowing built-up frustrations, stress, and resentment to fester, which is what happens when you're everyone's punching bag and silently sitting there trying to come up with new ways to calm your abusers. Obviously, this transfers down to black women's physical health with cholesterol levels and heart issues, as well as less stress means it's easier to lose weight. Ways black women can embrace this is asking for the things you believe you deserve, asserting boundaries, and calling attention to those who ignore them, completely denying access to people who aren't supportive or respectful, audibly and plainly correcting people when they try to speak on behalf of black women about our intentions or what we like or dislike. You can't do any of this if you're trying to seek the approval of your attackers and get on their good side, which is what about 90% of black women actually do. That's just pathetic and annoying. Honest and actual authenticity needs to come about, starting with black women being honest with themselves. Actual honesty and authenticity this time. Of course, I couldn't end this without also speaking on black males, the demographic black women slave for the most and allow the most disrespect from. I'm sure since it's an election year at some point this year, some black male will be unalived by the police, and I know the usual mules will be putting on their Wakanda warrior get-ups and defend the males they claim is the strongest in the world. But I also expect there will be a significant number of black women that won't be marching or saying anything about it, and people will be absolutely outraged. OMG, do you have any morals? You're black, you should be fighting? Where's your civil rights fist? Is what black women should expect to hear, but they really shouldn't let it move them. That type of attempted shaming and bullying rhetoric is only an issue for black women attempting to virtue signal as a good person, and again. Society's idea of a good black woman is a beaten-down mule that accepts disrespect from everyone and fights on their behalf for a pat on the head. Or a black woman whose emotions about other demographic has them endlessly outraged on behalf of everyone, except for themselves. Another good one is the same demographic who make up most of America's violent crimes, trying to lecture and finger wag black women about abortion. If you've watched my previous videos, you already know I'm actually not liberal at all. And I used to be very against abortion, but have totally changed my mind on it, especially when it comes to black women. This selective morality is hilarious to me, and like many of the examples I've given when black women say they don't want to give birth, the response, like always, is people questioning the humanity and morals of black women. "I can't believe you evil bitches are trying to exterminate the race," said the violent felon. Another example that will especially be prevalent this year is the usual tyrannical and bizarre way people speak to black women about politics. An article came out this month of a black woman saying that Biden is not doing enough to earn her vote. A bunch of white Democrats decided to insult her and actually tried to cyberbully her, posting her name everywhere, calling her selfish and saying things like, "We're not going to deal with these people doing this." I didn't feel like looking more into it because people are very predictable, but I'm sure those same people have posted almost word for word, "Black women will save this country," or "Black women are such a powerful voting bloc for Democrats." But then, feeling like they have a right to be outraged when a black woman is not saying what they want her to say or not freely giving her support away. On the other side, Republicans have taken to trying to speak on behalf of black women, proclaiming black women are no longer muling for Democrats, but now muling for them. Trying to constantly bring up black women in videos online to monetize, go viral, and attempt to make money off of black women, and the usual insulting and bullying attempts trying to harass Democrat black women into voting for them. Since a lot of black males are pretending to be outraged about migrants now to take attention off their own behavior, I'm sure the ethics argument on the right outside of abortion will be, "Oh my God, how could you not give us your vote and run yourself ragged, helping us try to stop migrants taking over America and ruining the country?" Or even better, "Oh my God, why aren't you bending over backwards trying to fix that raggedy black community by yourself?" Any black woman with sense at this point in 2024 is not a part of that quote-unquote community and have absolutely no interest or reason to attempt to fix anything about it. So that unintelligent talking point should fall on deaf ears for black women with working brain cells. Mind you, we live in a patriarchy. Of course, this is the same country that has always mistreated the collective of black women in every way possible, so that's another reason for us to not be moved by people's questioning of black women's morality and why we wouldn't want to jump to fix societal issues. Really, black women don't have to care how anything affects other people, and we don't have to speak on it. We just have to care how we are affected and what we want to do to not be affected negatively. Society attempts to hold black women to a higher moral standard than everyone else, while everyone else is free to do what benefits them the most without interruption or harassment. Most people try to get black women to be nice, also known as acting like they're servants, by comparing us to others. There's ridiculous talking points about black women from previous generations being nicer than black women alive today. Black women from other countries are nicer than black women in America. Black women are mean Grinches compared to women of other races, and the list goes on. But my question is, for what reason do black women want to be quote-unquote nice to people for? Whether it's in community with other black women or the rest of the world, being agreeable most often works against the interests of other black women. When it comes to black women and establishing boundaries, if anything, I would take it a step further and say black women with good sense should start taking legal action against people, and I mean very frequently. Being petty is not arguing with people. Being petty is actually creating serious consequences for the slights against you. Even if it's a minor slight, most people will tell you to let go. In the West, black women are praised for being victims. When people use the word humble, they don't have the same definition that I have, because their definition is someone who presents themselves as beat down, less than, and non-threatening to make everyone else more comfortable. So if black women create very serious consequences for people who attack them or don't give them what they want, they will absolutely be labeled as doing too much and a mean, villainous bully. But it is what it is.